This is a webinar from a series of webinars. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word, but let's go with that. A series of webinars about digital art and comics and clip studio, maybe. But yeah, this will be a webinar about clip studio from zero. If you don't know anything about any drawing program, this might not be for you. You need to have some basic understanding of drawing programs, or might have used other programs like Photoshop or Sai or any Krita, GIMP, any of those. This first one will be about Clip Studio, and about what I know about Clip Studio. I know many people find this software intimidating and hard to get into it. It's actually quite easy, but I get that it can be like a lot for some. Like you enter and you see a lot of options and tools that you don't know what they are for. But yeah, let's see. If you put things in order, then it's pretty easy to understand software. Let's start. Well, and I have here my little document with everything. Well, Clip Studio, by basic tools you need to make a drawing. We have this section, basic tools you need to make a drawing. My favorite tools and features, that was something someone asked. And then shortcuts, because I like shortcuts, and it's kind of my perfect section. I know it always have been. Well, basic tools. Let's see. We have file, all types of options here. Let's now check this. Let me see. Here's a drawing I've been doing for Golden Plume for my Matenchi Life, which is coming back to being published online. Well, we have this here. Let's start with file. File. This is something that you find in any software. The basic options. Down here you will find some stuff about shortcuts and like preferences of this program. Like, for example, let me see if I can find it. Preferences here. Yeah, you have the window here. Like, you can change the color of the interface and to whatever you prefer, lighter or darker, and other options like the size of the buttons and other things that might be causing problems. If you have any with the software, you might find a solution here in this. Like, I don't know, there's the things with the tablet and pressure and gestures if you use touch with your tablet. Well, anyways, continuing with editing. This is also pretty standard for any software. Wait. We have to talk about this. File, new. You want to make a drawing. You say you want to make a drawing. Well, here we have the different kinds of files you can make. Like we have for illustration, it's like the basic canvas. You choose the height and resolution. You can make custom, like you can save presets for this. Like I have a random drawing I want to make and immediately makes it 4000 per 4000 with 30 dpi. And this is the average file properties I use for a random drawing. Like, you know, it's going to be an okay size for me. Like, then we have here, here's the name of the illustration. You don't need to name it right away. You can name it later when you save it, like in other software. Here we have the measurements. You can use pixels, inches, millimeters, centimeters. Paper color, if you want a background or transparent. You can also later uncheck this and it will become transparent, so it's not big deal. Then we have the webtoon layout for vertical scrolling. This one is a bit more tricky because you have to choose the where you're going to save your file beforehand and the name you're going to have, because every time you create one of the webtoon, it makes a folder with the files inside, because you can choose to have many pages from the start. Like, you create this file and you create this document and it will create 4 files with this height and width, and later it will connect them one over the other for webtoon making purposes. Like, then we have comic, and if you pinch here, a lot of options for comic appears. Like, they are pretty self-explanatory, most of them. Like the size, also the bleed. If you know about comic making, like, this will make sense to you. You can also choose to have multiple pages. This is the same as with webtoon, because it creates, you have to choose the root where your file will be beforehand, because it will create a folder and all the files inside the folder. Who do we have here? New Julio Meet. Thanks for following. How are you? We're talking about Clip Studio here, the basics of Clip Studio. Then we have printing of fanzine. These have similar options to the comic one. It has a comic page included. None of it matters to us right now much. This one has the options of all of the other ones. Like, you can uncheck comic settings, and you will have a document for an illustration only. This option encapsulates all the options from all of this. The illustration, webtoon, comic. And this last one is for animation. Like, I'm good too. Bien, muy bien. Gracias. And this one is for animation. Actually, any file can become an animation file. If you go to the file window, to the animation window, and create a timeline, then you don't need to start from zero, like with an animation file. Like, you can go to an illustration and then create a timeline, and it's an animation file, doesn't matter. Well, for example, we're gonna go for illustration with a custom 4000 for 4000, a resolution of 300 dpi. This is, I usually use this because I might print or need a high resolution of what I'm drawing. like just in case I go this size. If it's something for web, then it's 72 is okay for DPI. In edit, you have the basics and anything that is happening in your canvas, you can edit here. The copy, paste, delete, and then you have down here a resolution of image, canvas size, and all of that. Story for when you work on a series of pages for a comic. This is something we will not be touching because it's something from Studio Paint X, which is another level of the software that you have to pay more for it, and it's not something we will focus on. Same with animation. Story for when you have a comic and many pages and have to edit things in bulk. And animation is for the windows and options if you are making an animation in your drawing. Like if you start with a file that is going to be an animation, or if you have any option, like if I want to make them blink like right now, I will be using animation interface and will be needing these things. Then we have layers, all regarding layers, which is also here mostly in this window called layers. Whatever you have here, you might find it here too. Like to create a new layer, create new vector layer, duplicate layer, delete layer. All of this is here too. But if you don't find it here, you might want to come to this upper corner option. That's a layer. Then select is for when you make a selection. All the options regarding a selection are here. Let me put this on the side. And well, view is for what you can see in the software, like the scroll bar is ticked, so you can see this thing on the side. If I untick them, then it will disappear. Like I have to move with a shortcut. If I tick it, then it will appear again. They are all options from the interface mostly. Then we have green, like rulers and everything regarding the interface, not the drawing you are doing, not the drawing itself. Anything you mark any option you find here won't be things that will affect your drawing or appear. Like they are like only tools. And for example, let me see, like zooming, like how you interact with the canvas. Hey, we have a new one. We'll say thank you for following. Yeah, learning studio here. Well, then after view we have filters here. And filters we don't have much, only the basics. I know, for example, Photoshop has a bunch of filters. Here you only have some blurs. I love to have some blurs. I don't need more than this, but if you are a filter person, this software might not be for you. We have distort, effects, artistic, mosaic. It's really a few, only a few. The sharpen, this one is pretty. The most useful here. I might be getting unfair on myself. Hey Auntie, how are you? The ones I use the most here are Gaussian blur. This one is just like with this is useful too. It can modify the width or of your liner, even if it's raster layer. You don't need to be using vector layer. And then this one, sharpen, I also use it for when, let's see, when you have drawn something, and well, in another pen, you draw something and you want to tilt it and it loses quality, then you come here to filter, sharpen a little, and it gains some sharpness, you see. Yeah, that's what I use it for. Well, let's continue. Filters. Yeah, we are done with filters. Here in Windows we have anything that is on a screen. Like this is a window. They call them windows or paletters. This for example is one window. This is another one. No? Each window has some sort of property regarding the tool you are using, and you can rearrange them like in any other software, drawing software, or editing or whatever. And this is pretty common knowledge. But yeah, like in any other software, you have like this tick. It means this one window is showing. So if we untick it, then it disappears. If there's I can't remember which one it was. so yes, in this one. If there's an important window you need that is not showing here, you might want to come here and tick and check if it has the tick. Only the ones that are showing have the tick. Like for example, I have layers here, and layers history, and I mean layers and history. They are both on the screen. They are both out, to call it somehow, but it will only show the tick if the window is actually showing. Like you have history here, but it's not showing, so it doesn't have the tick. So yeah, if you see some window that has options that you don't care about, you can come here and tick it and make it go away. So let's see what else. Then the help tab that I don't know what it has. If you need help, you go there. Let me see. Let's jump to the next subtopic. Well, Windows. We'll jump to Windows now. Windows. Okay. Windows. About Windows. The Windows, not the operating system, but this. Here in each window we have the respective options. Here, for example, here we have tool property. So it's a tool property of this pen I'm using. So it's only pen for leaf 3. I have these two that are similar. And here you have some options, but these are the options you decide to show that you can change, like the brush size, opacity, anti-aliasing, stabilization, the basic things. Then you can go here to this, how is this called, this little thing? Okay, you come here and you get more options even. These are all options that make the shape of the brush and the properties of the brush. For example, here you have like amount of color mixing. Like if you choose two colors, then it's going to mix those two colors when you paint. If you change this, you make this another pin. You can save your options, you can duplicate this, duplicate subtool, and here appears. I'm getting ahead and teaching you how to make a brush. You give it a name, it's 3, and you can choose color or whatever here, and aesthetic things, and then we have the stream pen. And now we come to the options here. If you can't remember, it's tool properties, and here we have find all the options of the brush, and we can make it into an entirely different brush. Oh, we have a pausa publicitaria. But we keep talking about brushes because this wasn't scripted, and let's make our own brush. Let's go. Like here it shows what the option does. It has an explanation for everything if you hover over the option. Right, let's do something here. We have this, and if I pick another color, does it mix it? Color stretch. Whoop. Amount of paint, not so much. Now it mixes a little. Density of paint, not so much. Oh yes. And here you can make any paint you want, really. You like this gives you a random color each time you. Right, when you continue painting, there's another option to give you a different color each time you press. Random here. Oh no. Here it will change the hue of, depending if you pick this color, the color will be different here. Like I pick brown and I get a green. You can make it here random and this happens. Blend with color. Like you have many different options. Randomize per stroke. This is what I was talking about. Hue, saturation, luminosity per stroke. So now each stroke you make is a different color. Or you can make it not so different. So I have this color picked, like brown. And now it makes similar browns every time I make a stroke. You can have a lot of fun with brushes if that's your thing. So yeah, we are practicing. Let me keep talking about the subtools options. Yeah, so here are the basic options you have for a tool. But if you press on this thing here, the little thing, you can change what you see here. Like this is like imagine a layer and you can see or not the layer. You can choose to see or not, and you can do the same with the options that appear here. Like if it's important for you to have I don't know, brush size, you can let it show. If you don't care about brush size, then you can take it away. And the same with all the options here. Like all of these have the little eye. that you can keep here for easy access to modify. And that is for every window. Like almost every window has that little tool. Let me see. And also the little tool will depend on the window. Of course, for example, this one will give you pen options to make to change what makes the pen. But if you go to another one, you have the same but for another pen. No, wait. No, I understand. I was getting it wrong, but yeah, the flowing one was okay. On this window, you have here the brush options. Then here on the top left corner, you have some other options that are very hidden. Like it's a very little button that will give you more options. These are not so important, but you might need something that is here and it's very hidden. Some more options there. Well, let me see what now. Like for example, this other window also has options here on these three. I'm not sure if you can see them on stream. Like these three little things, the lines, give you more options of that window. Well, let me talk for a little while about the brushes and subtool properties and all of that stuff. For example, here you have the brush. You're using the specific options of the brush you're using. Here you have all the brushes you have, right? Not erasers. You're on the brush tool, and here you will find all the brushes you have. Then if you press the eraser, then here will appear all the erasers. Let me see. Then for example, we have, I have to bring this up here. I have it here because I never use it, but it's like the basic for when you haven't modified your workspace. Here, this is the tool window. This is one of the most important windows. And here is where you will find every tool in the program. Yeah, like the zoom tool. When you pick a tool, the properties will change here. Oh, this is one of my favorite tools. I forgot about it. Well, in this line you have all that is pens, airbrushes, thanks for following Shepeto the artist. I'm trying here not to struggle while I talk about the studio. Well, we have the pen. Here we have all the pens. The pencil, which is similar to the pen. You can even change this tool and send it to the pen, to the window of the pens. Then we have watercolors. This is only like categories, but they are basically the same, like things to paint with. right? Then we have decorations. It's like here I make clouds, and it comes with some pre-made brushes, like the fancy brushes that do decorations. You have effects, and I remember playing with this when I was a kid in other softwares. Then we have the erasers, different kind of erasers. You can even make your own, like I showed you with duplicate subtool and changing the options of the tool. You can make your own and save it here or wherever. You have the blend, that is it's like the finger tool. And the liquify, this is quite new to Clip Studio, so I haven't used it a lot, but I know of a lot of people who love the liquify tool. Then here, fill, gradient, figure, frame for when making comics. You can create a frame, and it creates a folder with a mask, and anything you paint inside this will remain inside the folder and the limits of the mask. So it's pretty useful for when making comics. And then you have rulers, text, balloons also for comic, and tools for vector layers. These ones that have the little cube are vector layers. These ones are raster layers. I will talk about this in a minute. Well, important windows is, let me check the thing. Important windows. Well, the arrangement, I mean, you can take them and put them wherever you want, like make this space wherever you feel comfortable with. For me, I have the tool properties on my left side, like size of the brush and all the brushes, and the properties of the offset brush. Then on the right I have the layers, the layer properties. This one I usually don't have it showing, but only because I have all of these other custom brushes and options here on quick access. I'll talk about this later. I usually keep this one hidden. Well, something else that you can do with the windows, not so important, but let me show you. For example, you may have noticed I don't have colors, window for colors. It's because I have here in quick access buttons that allow me to make the windows appear and disappear to gain space. I'll talk about the quick access layer later. For example, I have this arranged like this, all my colors in one place. But I can also click this button and the windows of the colors go away. Well, you can also go to canvas and where was this? This workspace and register workspace, and you give it a name and it will save the arrangement of the windows. Let me see. And in case you want to have different layouts with different types of windows. Say you want to make animation and you need the windows for animation, then you can save, go to window workspace and register your workspace and go back to an old workspace or a different one, like have one for animation and another one for illustration, for example. Let's see where else. Well, important windows. You have the tools windows, which is this one, that you might not need later if you customize your workspace as I have. The tool property that is here, you'll be seen it already. Talk about it a lot. Subtool and tool property. Here, tool property, subtool. These are the most important if you wanna make illustration. They have the tool, subtool, and tool property. Like if you open the software for the first time and these windows are not there, you go to window and look for them here and tick them, and they will appear. And then we have the layers, like in any other illustration software. And we have layer properties. This one is not so important, but it has some tools that I like being able to make a border. Like change the color of the border. Like now this layer has a border, and it's that easy. You want it out, then you just unclick this. Well, the layer property is not so important, but it has some tools. But yeah, layer window is important, and color wheel, types of pickers, of color pickers. Like here I have palettes of different saved colors that I have. Color history, and the blending, I like this one because you can blend and make your colors, and it's something I remember I had in this other software. What was the name? Corel Painter. And the Corel Painter, I used to have this one, I liked it. Well, continue. Now, my favorite tools and features. Like stabilizers is something I learned about in Paint2Sci. I remember Paint2Sci had one, and it was like a lifesaver. Let me make a new canvas. Let's see, we have a new file here. Well, let's keep talking about my favorites. So, stabilizer. You pick any brush. No. Texture pen. No. I want another brush. Any brush. So, stabilization is here. Up here in the tool properties. This one is, I think, unlike Paint2Sci, this stabilization in Clip Studio is it depends on each brush you are using. If you change the brush, it changes the stabilization. For example, I have this brush with this stabilization. Stabilization helps me make smoother lines. If I go down to 0 on stabilization, then it becomes wonky. It depends on what I want for drawing or for my pen to be, right? If I put 10, then the line is so much smoother, but it will be much slower to paint with this, right? Depends on what you want and how, and it will also depend on your DPI and your file size, because if I go, for example, if you're close, you might not need so much stabilization. You might be okay with this. If you want to make a straight line here, you're gonna need much more stabilization. You see what I say? Well, if you are used to drawing programs, you might be familiar with this setting of stabilization. For Clip Studio, I want you to know that it's here in the tool properties. You can find it here. Well, for me, it changes depending on what I'm drawing and what I need. Let's continue. This is another favorite of mine. Pick color from layer from canvas. So you have a drawing, right? Boop, 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 boop. Let's draw our subject, right? You have the drawing and you suddenly pick a color you don't want, right? With the Alt, you pick the color you are seeing on the screen, like with any other program. But you might have a more complicated drawing, like with gradients or whatnot. Yeah. So if you want this color you were drawing with, it might be more difficult to pick. So here comes the pick color from layer, which I have set to control. If I press control on my brushes, then it picks the color no matter where what opacity it has. It picks the color I painted that layer with, not the color I'm seeing. With Alt, I pick the color I'm seeing. With Control, I pick the color that is on the layer, no matter the opacity. This has been really helpful for me making comics. Like, because I used to go the easy route and paint something and then on the top go with a multiply layer. Like, everyone knows about multiply layers, right? Go with a multiply layer and draw the shadows on top, right? And well, if I had colors mixed here, like this, whoop, like this is the skin of the character and this is the shadow. To continue making shadows, if I pick the color I see, then it will be much darker. But if I pick the color that is on the shadow, I will pick exactly the color of the shadow. Boop, boop, boop. And yeah, tools to make your comic life easier. Pick color from layer. So then we have quick access. So yeah, about quick access. Quick access is this thing, this window I have here. I'm gonna set this to the side. Whoop. Here. No. Yes, here. Okay. This is quick access. This is my quick access. Every quick access will look different. High quick access palette. Quick access settings. Oh no, we are on pause. Well, manage set, create set, switch set, display set list. This is what I want. I only have one set, but you can also create sets, like a set will contain the tools you want let me see, for example, stream example. Let's call this set stream sample. So we have a new quick access window here. And here we go to quick access settings. You can click here or right click, quick access settings, and this window will pop up. And here you have every tool and every button you can press in this software. Like you want file new, you want a new file, well, you go file new. Let's add this button to the quick access, and from now on, if I want to create a new file, I go here and press here. I don't have to go to file, new file. Okay. You follow the possibilities this gives. Okay, we are back. So we were talking about quick access. Let's delete this. So we have new set here. You put right click, create new set. You create a new set of quick access. So this is mine, Google Quick Access Rumaga. For example, you want a tool here that you use a lot. Like for example, you have menu commands that is this bar up here. All of this appear here. Then you have pop-up paleters, which is quick access, tool, subtool, tool property. For example, let's go with tool. Or layers, for example, layer. You add the layer window to your quick access. What does this do? Every time you click this, the layers window a layer window will appear. You click it and it disappears. Like for example, imagine you don't have this on display. It appears. Hey, thanks for following, Mobley D. So now if you have little space, like you can put windows here. Every time you click this, the window appears. For example, let's go with something else. You press, if you want to delete this, you press it, you press delete. Let's find something else. Pop-up paleters. Pop-up paleters is for the windows. They are called paleters also. For example, options. You have options from the canvas view. Like the size of the canvas, all of that. You can put a quick access here to that option if you use it very frequently. Tools, you can find all your tools here. Like let's go with pen. You can add all the pens or a specific pen you like you have in this one, not too soft, not too, and then you have all your pens or whatever pen you are using and this specific pen. Let's add this one too. Close. And now if you're painting, you can use pen tool. You can pick another pen you like. You have it instantly. You go back to the other pen. You can add whatever pen you like here. And yeah, the idea is to fill the quick access with everything you use frequently and like make your own. From my own quick access, I have, for example, clear the layer, copy and paste because my keyboard is a bit funky and it doesn't work very well sometimes. So I go here and click if my keyboard is betraying me. I have changed my resolution, change canvas size, flip canvas, new window. For example, Here another is, for example, convert brightness to opacity. There is an option I use, like for example, if I have a layer that has white and the same layer has color, something else, and if I click this, it makes the opacity transparent. It's useful for example, for line art, for when you scan a line art, or when you have a line art that has white in it, you can get rid of the white. Let's see what else. Gaussian blur, for example, it's a filter I use frequently, so I have it here. Hue, saturation, and luminosity. I have an option, a quick access here too. I also have a shortcut for that, like I think it was this one, yes. Control U. I have the tools for comic here, like rectangle frame to cut the rectangle frame. Whoop. Everything I use frequently, I have it here in quick access. I also have the palettes for colors, because sometimes I'm just not working with colors, or I work on a sketch, so I don't need to pick colors, so I just hide them. Your properties, this is the materials. Well, yeah, whatever you imagine, you can have it here. Delete this set, not mine, please. And yeah, I put it here and have all the options together. Display set list, because I have only one, I just unclick that display set list. Let's see what else now. Quick access, okay, we talk about that. So view is one of my favorite windows. I use it. This is subview. So here, Windows subview. Where is it? Subview. In this window in particular, you can use it as a reference file that you can navigate, and you can also use it as a quick color picker. Like for example, I'm working on this document and I want the color for the hair, and pick this that is at the bottom left, this thing here, and and that means that every time you go over this window, it will become a color picker without me pressing any buttons. So it saves a lot of time and mental stability. So yeah, I want to go for the eyes of the colors to paint it here. Well, I have it just in this window. Yeah, and here with these arrows you can change from one reference to another, like from file to file, different files. They have the reference for this hair, have the reference for this other hair, and here you open a big import and you go pick your reference you want, and it appears here. If you press Ctrl, it becomes the magnifier glass. If you press Ctrl and Alt, it goes back, and with the spacebar you can move it as the hand. It's like another file, but every time you go over it, it becomes the color picker, and especially especially useful for coloring when you have to color a lot of things, like color a webtoon. Well, very useful. Here you press the clean and it gets rid of that reference until it's empty. If you want a new one, you go here and again you open a reference, whatever reference you need. So let's hide this and let's go with the next thing. Materials. Let me see. Materials, I have that window. I also have it hidden because I don't use it all the time. Materials are particularly useful for comic making and for when you have to, like, for example, I work on this comic that involves these two girls, and it's in black and white with tones, and I always use the same set of tones. So I have this material that if I grab it and put it into the file, it creates 3 layers, one with each tone that I might need for the, like, I pick this one and I color here and instantly becomes the tone I need. Same for the other one and the other, right? The materials are useful in that way. Like, it's like something I bring prepared from home. Like, for example, my materials can be that, like a set of layers that you usually use, so you have to have them all the time. Instead of going to another file and copy that and paste it on your new file, you just grab the material and put it on the file, and you will have the, for example, the layers. For this one is the logo that I tend to put on the webtoon as the webtoon title, and it's a folder that has everything separated. It becomes really useful for those kinds of occasions, like you have to repeat something. The Studio Paint tutorial, let's go. Normiga amiga, hola a todos. How are you? We have closed captions, so what do you think? Is there anyone in the chat that has any questions? Feel free to put them in the chat at any given time. Thanks, Nyavin. Well, that's something else that the materials can do. Like, you can make a material, a set of layers that you can use in, like, repetitive manner. Like, you're making your webtoon and you need to put the title of your webtoon. You put it in the file and you have it ready, and it's many different layers. How to make it, I'll tell you later. I will continue to explain what materials can also be. Like, for example, here I have advanced glasses from Fall Leaf, and this is a vector layer. So I made this material a vector layer so I could modify it, and no matter how I scale it, it won't lose quality of image, right? Like, materials can be vector layers, raster layers. I will go like this and make some tweaks to the glasses, right? And then you have advanced glasses on a 3/4 direction. I want the glasses again, more to the front. Okay, I go here, only draw a little bit of this, not so much, and it's the same file, and I can make it different angles really easily. And again, the materials are really helpful for comic making. Here I have the credits for my webtoon also, like a material. Instead of having to go to a different file and grab whatever you need, you have it here in the materials. It's like a folder resource of anything. I have also a logo of my series with separate layers. Well, something else materials can be is textures or patterns, like something you repeat, like for example, you have this repeated various times. This is not the best example. Another thing that I used to have is when I wanted to draw gloom, I would pick this layer and no, this is a vector one. This is a raster layer of gloom, and the layer will be prepared with the border effect in that specific color of the gloom that I need. So I could draw on it, and it will have the violet border, right? What else? This is what I say. What I mean when I say a pattern like this. I made this one. Like the actual image is what is inside this square. Yeah, and it repeats, like this part connects to the part on the bottom, and I can do what I can do is I take the operation tool and this allows me to modify this object, this material. I could do this and get a 3D effect. It will repeat. This is so trippy, yeah. Fully behind the scenes, yeah, basically. Like to make this pattern, I only had to like it was something like this. Like I would take a space, right, a file that is like this, and I would draw something like a pattern of the stone. Yeah, and I put this in half. I put in two different layers. This one goes down here. Okay. And this one goes up here. Yeah. So, fourth leaf. And then I will continue to draw like this. Yeah. And I will do the same with by cutting this in half. This is like a trick to make patterns. This and like this. Okay. The trick is to have them correspond this part to this part and this part to the upper part. So yeah, like this. Whoop. Whoop. And this. And here you have your pattern, like your example pattern. Let's make this into an actual pattern. Okay. Let's select this and let's go back to don't pay attention to it. I'm just recovering my thing. Well, I copied this and pasted it here. Okay, this side corresponds to this side and the top to the bottom. Okay, now we are going to make this into a material. Okay, you select it How was it? I don't know. Let's make a new file. Let's make this into a material then. We select, we make a selection of everything that we want inside of the material. Yeah, and we go here. I have the option here, but it's because I modified this. I could modify this and add the option here, but actually you have to go to edit, register material, and image material. No, so this option will pop up, and you have to till this, tilling. You give it a name, floor, and you have to pick a location for it. You can tag it. I tend to tag my things loose so I can find them later. And you press OK, and you have a new material. Yeah, the new material will appear at the top of all materials. Yeah, and now we can get rid of this, and we can drag this material and put it here, and it will till. Yeah, and there you have your pattern, and you can modify it here with the operation tool. This is the one with the cube and the arrow. Whoop. And you can triple you want. Whee. This reminds me of Windows 98 screensaver. Yeah. Nice. So yeah. You can even use things like this. Yes, it's a really useful trick. Like a grid. Like if you have one that is a grid, for example, let's make one right here. Hypothesis: you can make a 3D model using Studio Paint. Maybe. And let's pick the straight line tool, new layer. Okay, let's go like this. Duplicate, merge layers, duplicate again, move 90 degrees, and merge again. And well, this was supposed to be in the middle, right? Let's copy this, make a new file that is a square, and select everything on the layer, and edit, register material, image, and we call it squares or grid. Tilling. Choose a place, tag or not. Okay, and here we have our new material, which is a grid, and we can move it with object. And you can put more than one if you wanna triple. Change the opacity of them. Like, you can get really trippy effects with this, and I don't know, you may find its usefulness. But yeah, let's jump to something else. So those materials. Now, on materials you also have 3D models. Like for example, these wings that I found on the Clip Studio asset store. With the object operation tool, is the one that moves the 3D objects and anything vector. If you have vector layer or a 3D layer, this is the tool for you, the operation tool. There is a square with the cube with the arrow. So here we have the option. I just click and drag and it moves the camera of what you're seeing. Then you click once and you get options for that object. You can move it. I've been collecting. I can 3D model in Clip Studio. I'm not sure you can actually 3D model. You can use pre-made 3D models that you can even do yourself and import them to Clip Studio. That's something you can do if you plot in begins. This is mostly to use as reference for art or to trace. Like everything you find on the Clip Studio Asset Store is free for you to use. You have consent to use this stuff that you found on Clip Studio Asset Store. Yeah, that's really cool. If I can import boxes, I can 3D model. Really poorly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a way now, but in later versions of Clip Studio, I have the version 1 of Clip Studio. I know we are up to version 3 right now, I think. Yeah. In later versions of Clip Studio, you can even combine objects. So, for example, you have, say, a human. Let me see. I also have pre-made patterns that come with the crystals. For example, you have 3D object. You have a human. Let's look for a human in some pose. Here, character. You have this girl. This one comes with the program, with Clip Studio. Let my computer sing, for example. You have this girl, yeah. You also have poses that you can give to the characters. Like, you drag this to the character and the character becomes that pose. Oh no, don't show underpants. Okay. Like this, for example. And well, you even have other different characters that you can modify yourself. Body type, drawing figure, female, for example. And here you have option to modify that character. Oh no, not this one. Where are the options? Here, of course, in this thing. Let's see. Camera 3D drawing figure. And you move this and the character changes characteristics. Like you can make them fatter or thinner, muscular or not so much. And you can even model this to how your character is, even a different height. Head ratio, a body, and pose, and you can pose this, and you can, you can use this as reference, or you can trace them even. That's allowed. Yeah, that's so cool. Really. Like, you can lower the opacity of this and draw on top of this 3D model. Well, this one is actually a bit weird. The pose. But, yeah, you can draw on top of this and that's allowed. That's okay. Yeah. You create a new layer and you start drawing. Boop, boop, boop. It's usually but it's to use as you please, really. You have consent to use this for your commercial purposes even. Like if you purchase Clip Studio Paint, it comes with this. Well, we are in a commercial break. What else can we do with Clip Studio? What other materials do we have? For example, it comes with backgrounds, like 3D backgrounds. like you have a school class, but the camera is not so great for this. Like it's difficult to move around. I prefer to have like a 3D model for the models I use for my comic for Leaf. I have used what was the name? This 3D software that is for architecture. Can't remember the name well. No, AutoCAD no. No, that's not it. Can't remember the name right now. But the one I use the most was Unreal Engine. I have Unreal Engine. I got some free assets from the store of Unreal Engine, and I just load the assets. Like I have a set of assets that are from a city, so I can create a street or get like a car model or a building model and go around with the camera, and that was much better. Or for example, I have another set that is for interiors. Also got it free from the store of Unreal. They usually put free stuff like every week. Usually the stuff they put for free are not so great, but sometimes you get lucky. I got really lucky with those sets, like the urban set and the interior set. Like I can make entire houses, like the Cricket's house, the Cricket's apartment I made with Unreal Engine and had it from any angle. The restaurant at Garua also was a 3D model I made with Unreal Engine. But yeah, Unreal has a lot of assets that you can buy, so it's not technically free. I got those for free from the weekly free assets. Something I do really recommend is to learn some Blender. We are Blender stands in the house. Blender is free to use and open source, I think. And yeah, you get professional level 3D with that software, Blender. And you can make 3D objects in Blender that you can use in Clip Studio. Like you can give them bones and physics. I don't know if physics, but how the parts stretch and stuff. Like, well, you can give them bones, and the bones will work in Clip Studio Paint. For example, if you make a book, like you can make a book that opens and closes, and you can translate that to Clip Studio and open and close the book in Clip Studio. But for backgrounds, yeah, I don't recommend using Clip Studio because the camera is not that great. What else we can do with materials? Materials can be 3D objects, can be images, can be layers that you save together. They can be, example here, I have a collection of what I use for Webtoon. Albert things, like I have this is 3D model I made in Blender. Have the sword. You can move the sword. You can make it fatter. This one I will use, for example, when I have some difficult angle. Like if I want to draw the sword like this, I will lower the opacity and trace over it. I made the sword in Blender. Yeah. But if the sword was like in this position, or any variant of this position, I will just use this material that had already the highlights and shadows and lines separated. I was the drawing ready from home. and yeah, any variant of this angle, and it was also a vector layer, so the lines wouldn't lose quality when I will transform this. So yeah, I also have the sword with the vine. How is it called? The thing to say the sword. Didn't know you did some 3D models. I don't actually do. For example, I also have some bells here that I made one time. No, this one. The mask. I used this one a couple of times. This one is scary because I don't know what happens with the model. If it's too big. Because I don't know. I don't know how to do 3D, that's why these things happen. This is as much 3D as I know. Yeah. Enough to help me trace some stuff. Once you have some basic knowledge of what you want to do, tools, 3D tools are like really helpful. I find myself having a lot of fun with using 3D tools. Command bar. Well, the command bar is this thing. Okay, I don't have it enabled here in my setup. Command bar, where are you? Command bar, here. Command bar is this thing that you can modify. Like right click, command bar settings. And it's similar to the quick access. Like you can put anything you want here in this line. Like if you put more than it can fit, then a little arrow will appear here and it will become a pop-up, like the bar, bookmarks bar. This is one, particularly useful in the sense that when you press tab, everything goes away. If you press the tab on your keyboard, everything goes in hiding until you press it again, and then everything appears except for the command bar. So if you have here the pen and the eraser, and you are not used to, if you are not used to using shortcuts, it might be of use. Like you can you put right click command bar, and let's say you want to put here, you find the tools, right? The pen, add the pen, and the pen appears here. Eraser, let's add the eraser too. Close. And now, even if everything is hidden, you have this that you can, new layer, that you can just have quick access to without having to see all the other windows. Yeah. Yeah. I use it on my iPad mostly because I don't have shortcuts on my iPad. I usually don't connect my keyboard to my iPad to have shortcuts, so I just go and pinch on the tool I want to have more space. And you can even like do this. Yeah, command bar, menu commands window, and you put this one, show all paletters, this one, and you add it. Yeah, and it's like an exception because you press this and everything goes away. It's like pressing tab. Like you don't even need a tab. On my iPad, and I don't have a keyboard attached, I have this button And when I want everything to go away, I just press it and leave the useful tools here, up here. But yeah, on my computer I don't use it that much, so I just go here, blip, and disappears. Well now, yeah, the vector layers. I love vector layers. Let me talk about it. Vector layers. Layers window, raster layer, and vector layer. They are one beside the other. But raster layer, you already know it. It's like your classic layer in raster. Bleh. Vector layer is works with vectors. Yeah. And if you make a line, yeah, that line is actually a vector. Yeah, this is actually the line, and this is what you are telling the line to be. Like you can change this even to be some other brush. I don't know how you can do it, but I know you can. Let's try it. I'm not sure how it is. You have this other brush. Well, now it becomes another brush. Another brush. Okay. Yeah. This is what you can do with vector layers. And also, you have the vector eraser. Wait, another thing you can do with this is go here. You have these tools, the tool navigation. That's so useful. Yes, I love vector layers. You have them here for quick access in layer properties. You have the object tool, that is the one that moves things around. It's similar to the move layer tool, but instead of moving the entire layer, it's like you have another line, you choose the option, the operation tool, and you can pick individual strokes and move them, yeah, or modify them. And then you have this here. You pick this and you get a bunch of new options here and here. This one is control point. It modifies each point of each. I assume they are Beziers vector points, and you can modify the line. You can also clean it, like where is it? Here. Remove dust. I think it is. I know. I remember there was a way to eliminate some simplify vector line here. You put simplify vector line. This is you can find here, and you this here says how much you are going to simplify your line. It's not something you can control that much, but you might find it useful. You go over the line and it becomes you see that it moved. It's because now it has less control points. Like it used to have, I'm not sure if you can see the control points, but this is how it is, and this is how it used to be. It used to have this one and this other one. Like I use the tool, I'm going to go forward here and they disappear. It has much less control points. Yeah. This one I don't use as much because it's very specific and difficult to control. I remember I had this. And let me see. I feel like if I start using vectors, I either find it really useful or my OCD keys. I make sure every stroke is perfect. Yeah, it's how do you say it? It's anxious. Yeah, yeah. Also, vector layers, when you have a simple brush that is like this, it doesn't have much problem. But if you start using a texture brush, it the layer gets like heavy, and if your computer is not so good, then it might have problems handling them. But yeah, I haven't had problems with a simple brush without texture. Like all my lines in for leaf are made with this brush in a vector layer. Like I make a lot of strokes and never have problem if the brush doesn't have a texture. When they get a texture, that's when it becomes complicated, and your computer might not be able to handle it. What now? Yeah, you have this. Then we continue with these tools here. What kind of stuff do you typically use vector layer for versus standard layers? Well, good question. Usually, for example, if I have a material I want to make, like for example, I was mentioning the Albert glasses that are in vector. These are many strokes that I made. Okay, that I use the operation layer with and I can modify it. I have one operation tool that moves things like this, and I have this other operation tool that is the same, but it has an option to save the object. Then going back to your question, like I have this object made with vector layers, so when I scale this, it doesn't lose quality on the image. If I want to go big, then it doesn't even change the. I mean, you can have it to change the line width or not. For example, if I put transform on this, here says change vector width. If I click this, then the line is going to become very thin when I make it small. Yeah. And if it's not checked, then the line will remain the same size and we will have chubby glasses. Yeah. This, for example, I use when if I have, for example, Albert here and he needs glasses. Okay, I go with the glasses, I put them here. If I need the size of a line thinner, we go to this other one, and this can make the line thicker or narrower, and I pass it on this several times, and it makes the line thinner. Like you can change the line width and height, and you can with vector layers you can also modify strokes individually. Like I find it useful for sketching, also for when I used to make for leaf. Like I was very used to drawing the same character, so I will go from 0 to lines without making a sketch. I was so used to making them. If I have enough patience, I will go like this, like whoop. Right? And vector layers will allow me to do this and eliminate a line without having to go and erase everything around them. Vector seems like witchcraft and I'm asking for it. Yes, absolutely. And I think can you imagine how a bad computer? Yeah, not me. 3D models with a computer we have a CPU. Yeah, my computer isn't amazing, but it can handle some big drawings. But if I give it texture brushing vector layers, it starts to complain. Like for example, I will go like this to make lupus bangs and like make a reference line like this. Yeah, and then I will erase the reference line, and I will have the final drawing. This is an example. Or go like this, and if I want another expression, like yep. Boop. Stop giving me so much math to calculate at once. Brilliant. Okay. So going on, continue. Vector layers. Also, you can change the width of a vector layer with this tool. All the vector layer tools are here in layer property. I don't know why they are here, but yeah, they are here. They are tools also. You can find them here in the tool window. For example, this one that can narrow or thicken a line. Let's go and thicken the line. This is how much it's going to thicken every time you make a stroke. Here, thicken. And here you can change the line thickness, just like that. And it won't affect the quality of the line. So, what else? Vector layers, control point. You have also this pinch vector layer. That is, for example, this is something I used to use a lot for lupus head. Like this part, I will have to draw it a lot of times. But then we have this tool that can help us with that. It has these three options. Fix one side, don't fix any side, or fix both sides. I will use the fix both sides, means that every... Oh no, we are in commercial break. Oh well. Fix both sides is this point and this point are fixed. You cannot move them. But you use this tool in the middle and you can move this, and the effect range is how much you move, and this is the pinch level that says how many points, control points are going to move. Like you could use a combination of the one that cleans the simplify the vector line there, and then the move control point, pitch vector line. And I didn't like this bump when I just click and move it. Yeah. Depending on how much you also press is how much the control points move also. Let me see. We are back from commercial break. So fix both ends, fixes this point and this point of the line, and you can move the in between. The fix one fixes the one you are not touching, like whoop. It's like spaghetti. And fix none, if you move, everything is going to move with it. Also, it's not, I don't consider it a great tool or anything, just to help you out a little, it's okay. But I don't regularly draw with this. It will be like for specific cases like this part of Lupe's head. Yeah. And now for the most important vector tool. It's not actually a tool, but more like an option inside any tool, like any eraser. You have, for example, a line and another line, and you go pick the eraser. Let's get rid of this. We are not using it. Eraser. Here's the vector eraser option. That if it's not here, you can find it here. And whoop. Not sure where it is, but yeah, it should be somewhere around here. Okay, stroke, texture, erase. Here, in erase. Vector eraser. If it's not here, you can make it appear by clicking this. You also have referral layers or not. And this, what it does is, if you have it clicked and you have it like this, then whatever you erase is gonna work like a normal eraser. It's gonna split the vector in half. It might look a little wonky sometimes, like you see you erase and it takes another shape later. But well, if it works for you, it's okay. Then you have the erase up to intersection, which is the one I use the most. You erase and you release, and the entire section of the vector disappears. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, I'm using Ctrl+C. Then this is very useful for this kind of drawing. Like you go and boop, you erase the parts you don't want up to intersection without having to go and erase up to the intersection yourself. Like let's go do the loopy hair. Boop. And you use eraser and you erase up the intersection, and you have a small intersection. That is like what I use, one of the tools I use the most, like erase, vector eraser. And if you are, I know it's an option here in all erasers, but if you are using a normal layer and you want to erase with that same eraser, it becomes unavailable, the option, because it's a raster layer, not a vector layer, and you can use it like a normal layer without problem. Like you have the hard eraser, for example, or the soft eraser. You erase like this, or you go to a vector layer and you erase like this, and it erases. It supposedly, yeah, it erases up to intersection. No, it didn't. Well, it's supposed to. Vector eraser. It wasn't clicked. There. Now yes. If you have, for example, this and you want to erase, it's going to erase everything there because there's not an intersection. If there's an intersection, then it erases up to intersection. And well, if I want to make, I used to make this effect Like I draw a line like here, but very. This is Key Studio Paint class. That's vector layer for you. I personally use vector layers for sketching, mostly because I like being able to move every stroke or strokes separately, right? Without having to whoop, right? And to select the specific parts, like I can do this and this, and I have the entire eye. For sketching, I used to use it for webtoon making for the ink software leaf in case I had to resize something and reuse an asset. That was very useful. And what else? I don't know. For example, now I'm working on this comic, my Tenshi Life comic, and I use a brush with a texture. I mean, I could use the vector layer, but you see it works differently. The brush I want to use, so I prefer this is in a vector layer and this is in a vector layer. It has less texture. I don't know why. So when it's something textured and more organic, I prefer to go with the raster layer. And yeah. For example, for this comic now I'm using this brush in raster layers. I'm not using vector layer for this. I might regret it later if I have to resize something, but really I prefer the texture the brush gives me over the things that the vector layer makes easier for me in this case. Also, I can take more time making this comic, so I have more time to make mistakes or fix mistakes, and yeah, so I can use rest of layers without being so worried. You have the vector layer, restores. No, it stays as how the vector layer looks. It keeps the look of the vector layer. It's now a vector layer, yeah, but with the same look. It makes sense. You can also, I think, convert this into a vector layer. Convert layer. Here. Normal. No. Raster layer, vector layer. Yeah. And well, it changed there. Oh, that's crazy. And now it's a vector layer again. But as you saw, it changed a little. So yeah, careful with that. I guess when you convert to raster layer to vector layer, it doesn't have that much information. It makes up information. Let's convert this one. Vector layer to vector layer. You see, and you have the strokes, but they are made up, I think. Yeah, it's not something you'll have to do, I guess. You have a simple brush like this, and you convert to vector. I bet it won't change that much. Vector. Yeah, it did change a lot. It became like monochrome. Yeah. Well, you can go here and change the pen, I guess. Yeah. Well, it's weird. There's that option, but it's not great, but eh, better than not having it. Key Studio Assets. Well, Key Studio Assets is like a store that Key Studio has. It's like a site online. Download things, some for free and some you have to pay in the currency of Key Studio or in money also. Like I want this 3D bench, I click on here. But here, if you don't have it, it should say download. I download, and then here it starts downloading in my Studio. So, and this is free to use for me because it's in the store. And anything you upload here is also free for other users to use. You can also sell your stuff here, but I'm not sure. I know you can upload your own brushes and stuff. Not sure how, not sure how you can sell for money those things. Okay, now it's unloaded. And we go to Click Studio to our materials because it will be downloaded there. Downloads, and we have the bench, and we can use the bench operation tool, and we move the bench. And yep, that's a cute bench. And you can use it on your drawings. Anything you find in the store, you can use on your Clip Studio art. If you have purchased Clip Studio, that is. Well, in the store you can find many different things. Like, I don't know, glasses, backgrounds, like weapons, tools like this. There is an object that helps you with perspective. I don't know, brushes of many kinds. You can spend a lot of time here looking for brushes. What else? And yeah, whatever you download in the store is gonna end up here in materials, downloads. Yeah. If you want, you can assign it a folder like this. I'm gonna put in. You can make your own folders also. But I'm gonna put this in backgrounds, I guess. No, buildings, no. In 3D. Let's put it in 3D. Grab it, arrange it, and now if you go to 3D, you see it here, or if you go to all materials, you find it on the top. Well, we are done with my favorite tools and features, unless I remember something. And shortcuts. I was going to talk about shortcuts and keypads. Keypads are like a device with buttons, right? And to those buttons you can assign a shortcut. That is, for example, Control C. In my case, I use only C. This the letter C. Instead of Control C. Also, for example, copy, paste, cut. Those are all shortcuts. I used to have this keypad when I started digital drawing. No, not when I started using keypads in general. And to each one of these letters, some keypads come with software that you can download to, for example, instead of this one being an E, you can change it to another letter. I use a USB numpad that was super cheap. Yeah, they are super cheap options. Like this one, I also have this other one, and this one was like $5 on eBay. Like this one, I remember it was $25 back then. It's like there are many like this one. It's called Gaming Keypad. This one is an 8 I like this brand. They are durable, and I have one of these to use with my iPad. I like it that they are small, and even if you can't use a software with the iPad to change the letters, for this one, if you press, when you press, it's one letter, and when you release, it's another letter. So, for example, if I put the brush on the release, and I put the eraser on the push, um, for example, I'm using the pen, and I push, and I have the eraser, and when I release, it goes back to the pen. And so with many other tools, all the tools I have. Then you have things that are a bit ridiculous, like this one. It's ridiculous, but I low-key want one. There's these that are a bit expensive for what they are. Like, I don't like for our keypads to have the keys one over the other or by the other. Like, it's better to have this in diagonal because you can find the letters better. It's even difficult for me to use this one. This one I use with the iPad. This one I can't remember how much it costs. I think it was $15, but I'm not sure nowadays how much it will cost. Let me see. To have the letters not one over the other, but in diagonal. Is for me it's much easier to recognize the placement of the keys. This also, you might have seen this one. Many artists are doing collaboration with Turbox. I'm not sure how the software works, and I found it a bit expensive. It's like $200 or something. They also have a lit version now that is like $100. This one is very expensive, like it's 3D printed, especially. You have buttons here, up here, on the side, on the back of your fingers. It's expensive because it's 3D printed, all the parts. And you have something like the Turbox, that is the Turbox is a device made by Celsius, which is the company that makes Clip Studio. But is the downside of this one, they released a Turbox 2 lately, not long ago, that can work with iPad, but this version cannot work with the iPad, and I don't know, to have it function only with Windows or Mac in computer, it's meh. You also might have seen this that come with drawing tablets like high-end, Spain, and Wacom. These ones I haven't used. I tried this one time, but the buttons were very stiff for me. And this one is the one I have. It's gray. Yeah, you can customize the colors. It's an Razer Tartarus. This one costs like $70 or something like that. And I can assign, I can have like different layers of, I think you can do that with others, like even this one, like layers of shortcuts. Like in one layer, this one is the letter E. In another layer, this one is the letter P, for example. And layers are useful to be able to have many shortcuts in only one keypad. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. I mean, I was also happy with this other one, but the keys were a bit stiff. I don't know. This one is more comfortable, but also more expensive. I think in terms of price, also this one is about $80, and this go for about 60, and this one is 70. Even this one that is pretty cheap, this one that costs $5 or this one that costs 20, are very useful. And like if you're wanting to try like a device like this one that costs 200, like maybe go first for this one and you'll have a good time with it. Shortcuts. What are modifiers? The modifiers are good explanation. The modifiers are these. You have, for example, your pen, yeah, and if you press Alt, it becomes a color picker. That is a modifier. You use a modifier layer key to become another tool. And you can modify this. You can set this to something specific. Going here to File, Modifier Key Settings. And here you can choose, for example, if you press Ctrl while using that pen, if you press Ctrl, then it becomes something else temporarily. Doesn't change entirely, like pressing the E. You are with the V using the brush and you press the E and it becomes an eraser, but it doesn't go back to the brush. This one here modifies the tools temporarily. Change to temporary to pick color from layer. Jesus. On the setting here you can change for whatever tool you want. Like for example on the rectangle selection, I think I have, yes, we have with the Alt it becomes the subtract selection, and with Control you cut the selection, and with Shift it adds selection. That's a modifier too. And for every brush you have, like for this brush can be one thing and for this brush can be something else. You can have the modifier to be something else wherever you want. Like for all the brushes in general, I have the Alt for pick color from the canvas and Control for pick color from layer. And if I pick here, because there are no colors in the layer here, then you pick transparent, but here it picks black. But with the Alt it picks white and black. In my keypad, I have a lot of shortcuts. Someone asked me, and it's like I counted, they are like 50. My keypad and my 48 more used shortcuts. Like I have the modifiers, like the hand, like with the spacebar, you press spacebar and you get the hand, right, to move around. With the spacebar plus Control, you get the magnifier glass. You pick and go to the sides, and it's like this, or you press Alt and you go back, right? And with Shift, for example, you have the straight line. Spacebar and Shift. With spacebar and Shift, you rotate, and with double click, you go back to resetting this rotation. Yeah. And what else do we have? Change brush size is Control and Alt at the same time. You may have seen me do this along the stream. Boop, boop, boop. That's with Control and Alt. Control Alt. Control Shift, I think you pick the layer. Yeah. Control plus Shift, when you pinch a layer, you go to that layer in the layer window. Like, I pinch here and go here. I pinch here and go to this other layer. Right? Control and Shift. I just give a list of the shortcuts I have, like my favorite shortcuts that I have in my keypad. A lot. This is like ridiculous. Like it's not something really educational. Like I have C for random, redo, copy, paste, cut. I'm mentioning the shortcuts that I have set to my keypad. I have two different brushes, because you can do that. And by the way, to set a shortcut, you go to File and Shortcut Settings. And here you have all your shortcuts. You also find this pop-up menu that has menu commands that are in menu commands. You have this bar here, from here, pop-up paleters that are the windows. That this means you can set one key to make a window appear. Like if you press U, the window appears and disappears. You have the options of the canvas, like make the ruler appear, whatever. Two properties, options, quick access, tools. This is the most useful one. You can, for example, give a shortcut to one pen and another shortcut to another pen. That's what I have for this, because like when I was making for leaf, I will use two kinds of sizes for the pens. Like this one was the default, like not in this resolution, but this one was the default, and then I had this one for the details, like the cheeks and like the folds of the clothes. For example, I will use this other brush for the folds. You can have two different brushes on two different shortcuts. Have the eraser, the bucket, shape, airbrush, text tool, offset tool, two offset tools. In fact, in different. If I press the one button, the offset tool button once, it gives me one offset tool, and if I press it again, it gives me the other one, the exchangeable. Like I press it once, and I press it again, and it changes to the other one. What else? Move tool, 4 arrows directions, flip canvas, reset rotation, secondary primary color, and vice versa, color and transparent, selection tools. This is like only to show how ridiculous it is, that how many shortcuts I can fit in one of these things, like on a keypad. If it's the selection tools, like the type, the lasso, the wand, and the marquee. Select all, deselect, delete, transform, new editor layer, new raster layer. If I press a button, I make a new layer. Like new layer, and this Control T. I have also shortcut for choosing the layer I want. Use the scroll, but if I press another button and I press scroll, then I grab this layer. Let's give it a color. I grab this layer and I can change the placement of the layer with a shortcut, or change the selected layer. What else? move layer up and down, clip layer, set of reference, match from selection, change balloon tail, new file, new from keyboard, switch between files, close files, hide paletters, hide title bar, export for webtoon, all the sports I also have in my keypad. It's like there's about 50 shortcuts here and at the reach of one of my hands only. And in my left hand I have the keypad and all these options with only pressing. Of course I didn't set them up all at once. Like I started with the brush and the eraser and maybe something else like the hand and the magnifier glass, but with my needs, the things I needed to work, I started adding them with this here, the file modifier key, shortcut settings, and I will start adding shortcuts to my keypad, and I ended up with 50, and I know them all, and it's like playing the piano. I don't know, it's like I know where my hand has to go, where I have to press to get the tools I need, and it gets really fast, and I can work really fast with that. I know it is an intimidating program because it has a lot of options, but if you start exploring it little by little, depending on your necessities and what you need to make the drawings you want to make, then you slowly start familiarizing with all the tools. And yeah, I hope this could help you kickstart that. Hope you can bet. You can. I hope you have some new tools now. Thank you for keeping me company here and listening to me talking in my close accent. I hope the captions were funny too. Well, see you around. Thank you. Bye.